Fat tires plus e-bike. I like the sound of that. I was recently contacted by Lectric eBikes about reviewing one of their new e-bikes. They sent me an email and it had two images. One was of a white folding e-bike and the second was a black version. I'm not normally interested in folding bikes. I don't live in a big city, I don't have a small apartment, and I have space for regular bikes, so initially I never even responded. Then I started thinking about that black bike and started thinking about those little fat tires and how cute they are, I just want to pinch them. Also, they had me on a hook with the subject of their email. Now I'll get to that in just a minute. So I responded, and a few weeks later a small box arrived. And believe it or not, this is a fully assembled bike. Once I figured out the origami magic, this is the result. There's something about this bike, and it's even more enticing in person. This isn't even the production version. This is one of the few prototypes that are in the US. Being a prototype, there are a few small differences between it and the production version, and I'll cover those as I get through the video, but the immediate difference is that there are no instructions. All I received is the bike and a charger with basic instructions for working it. Oh, and some keys. So my first few minutes with the bike were kind of a guessing game, trying to figure out where the keys go and where the charge port is located. Charging port located, and a few hours of charging later, it's ready for action and I'm ready to figure out how the rest of the bike works. I'll go into the spec details later in the video, but my initial impressions are that this is a nice bike, with few exceptions, and it doesn't look cheap or doesn't have any immediately evident shortcomings. There are even some unexpectedly nice touches, because remember, I only had two small pictures to go by. To me, it has an almost dorky cool vibe. It's like an e-scooter mixed with a mini bike. And visually, it's making me yearn for the times that I had a mini bike as a kid. Aside from the obvious attention that those fat 20-inch tires are going to earn, the bike has mechanical disc brakes. I'd like to see hydraulic here, but at least they chose 180mm rotors. I've been told that the drivetrain on this one is different from the production version, but both are a 1x7. Both also get the same Lectric branded 500-watt motor, and per them, this isn't some kit motor, this is their motor, which is good or possibly not good depending upon how it works. And it has all the things an e-bike needs, like cadence sensors, headlights and tail lights, and quote included accessories, and those are the fenders and the rear rack. My fender accessory came with its own accessory, a dent. Such is the prototype life. All things considered, I'm probably a little bit overexcited to get my hands on those bars and let's see how they sit if it feels like an e-scooter. I'm gonna go ahead and give a spoiler, because this bike is fun. It turns out that scooter-styled bars, when paired with a low-sitting frame and small but fat tires, makes for a surprisingly nimble ride, and it spins up to speed nicely. Based off the low look of the bike, I had expected issues, especially leaning into turns. Not only is there no issue, but I can lean this bike into turns and at speeds that I wouldn't attempt on many of my bikes. However, because of the small tires, when running pedal assist, especially the pedal assist at the higher levels, it tends to come on a bit strong. Now it's a smooth strong, but it's noticeable. This bike means business when it comes to pedal assist. This prototype has 3 pedal assist modes, and I believe the final version has 4 or 5. Now there are noticeable differences in both torque and speed between the 3 modes. I'm supposed to be getting the other modes, but even though my prototype is currently limited to a top speed of 22.4, I can feel the limiter keeping it from hitting the max. But even with the limit, I can easily overtake cars when the park speed limit keeps them slow and me not. Now I can't show you a feeling on video, but I can let you hear the power spinning up and kind of imagine the feeling. It's hard for me to not go fast on the Lectric XP, but even just cruising around leisurely is still fun and responsive. And I pretty much have fun on every bike, but I'm having a lot of fun on the XP. Plus, the throttle-only modes mean that I can ride without pedaling all the way up to the top speed and do it for over 20 miles on a single charge. I know this because I went out to the county, and I rode the normal roads there and the dirt roads where those fat tires really come in handy. I even upped the game and tested out the durability on some light trails. Even steps, down and up. Assist plus fat tires makes up a thing. The XP is also water resistant, at least enough that I can ride through puddles and small streams without worry. Lectric said the bike had a torque limiter for the throttle that keeps the rear wheel from spinning. I said, you're not trying hard enough. But keeping the front tire spinning is what counts, and with the stated range of 25 to 50 miles, even on pedal assist mode 3, I'm consistently able to get 25 miles on a charge. I know because I've duplicated those miles per charge multiple times. And I really enjoy all those miles, but as a cyclist, you know that not everyone appreciates our presence. We You have to fight all the elements, but at least the XP makes them fun. I always try to temper my enthusiasm when I have a new bike, because a new bike's like a new car. The first week or so's always great. But I'm gushing about this bike. It's that good. At least to me. And I don't say that lightly because this bike has touched something. It's like it's hit a long dormant nerve. That youthful fun of when you got your first really good bike as a kid. And I don't know how, with all the bikes that I have, there's something different about this one that's making it more fun for me right now. Let me try to explain why by going over the hits, the few misses, and the unexpected of the Lectric XP. I'll start with the unexpected, and that's the scooter-style handlebar stem setup because I really like this. That said, these comfort grips, they're hard plastic and I don't like the hardness, but that's just on the prototype. The production's version are softer. Here's the twist throttle and the trigger shifter. Now normally I would detract for this Shimano cheap low-end trigger shifter, but being that I use the throttle off the line, I just don't shift that much, so it doesn't matter. Another thing that strikes me as odd is the choice of bell, and I know this sounds finicky, but with all this technology, just a few inches from a bike computer is a bell that has a spring-type mechanism like it's from the 1890s. Next to it is a mode selection switch, and this is the same one I've seen on more expensive bikes, even one that I've got upcoming, and it works well. The bike's computer is labeled M5. It has a nice large screen, and even in broad daylight it's easy to see. It also has a backlight for night riding. Let's give a quick rundown of the functions. With the mode switch, you can change between odometer, trip meter, battery volume, battery current, and a timer option. A long press of the up arrow enables the headlights. You can turn them on or off with a long press. Now the down arrow long pressing is what's called a walk mode, but I can't do that inside. Going back to the top button, quick presses are pedal assist modes 1, 2, and 3. A long press of menu and up arrow toggles between speedometer, max speed, or average speed. Let's look at that beanstalk style steer. It folds via a simple latch mechanism, and trust me, it's far more secure and rigid than it appears on video, and it's easy to use. The blaze-light headlight is great for being seen, even in daylight. The fork is steel, rigid and stout, and the hubs are Gully branded, or however you pronounce it. I've already been singing the praises of those 20x4 fat wheels. Adorable and nimble. It's a good combo. The CST BFT, which is big fat tires, are also grippy, even on asphalt. The frame is aluminum, and considering it's a battery housing and also a folder, it's well designed and simple to operate. Open the latch and open the two halves. Is it a top tube if it's the only tube? Whatever it is, the battery's inside it. The battery itself has a pull handle for easy removal, but the keys are required because the bike needs to be unlocked to get the battery out. The battery itself, at least in the production version, is an LG branded 48 volt 10.4 amp hour. The battery can be removed and charged externally or left in the bike, and that's how I do it. Either way, removal and reinstallation is simple, and secured with a keyed lock, it would be difficult to steal. So this is a simple and efficiently designed setup and easy to open and close. When folded, the bike takes up about half the space of a traditional bike, and getting it ride ready is an easy two-step process, only needing the frame latch and the handlebar stem latch to be secured. Then the bike is ready for action. I said half the space, and here you can see it in the back of Dad's truck. There's still enough room that one of the seats is still usable. The frame graphics are blue and silver, and they are clear coated. The paint's tough. I dropped a wrench on it and not a scratch. This prototype has an open area down at the bottom of the seat tube, and I'm told there's some sort of arm latch thing that goes in there, and it's supposed to make the bike easier to work with when folding and unfolding. That long seat tube has a long seat post and a quite comfortable saddle, even on long rides. Even these Welgo pedals are foldable, no tools required, and this further minimizes the space requirements when the bike's in its most compact state. Drivetrain-wise, there are Prowheel cranks and a Prowheel 48-tooth chainring. And in the back is a Shimano tourney to shift through the 7-speed freewheel, and this freewheel is a 14 to 28 tooth, but I'm told the production version has slightly different gearing. Either way, the 500 watt motor is going to get the production bike up to 28 miles per hour, and more on this in just a second. The production XP is also going to have aluminum fenders instead of the prototype steel, but both have the same rear rack, and it has the same 55-pound load capacity, and a spring-loaded cargo holder. The rear rack is also the mounting point for the BlazeLight RL1900 taillight. Another thing I'll give them points for is how orderly the cable routing is, especially for a bike with a folding design. So that's a first look, literally the first review of the Lectric XP. XP stands for experience if I haven't mentioned that already. A 28 mile per hour folding e-bike, and an e-bike that I really like. I can't express how much fun I'm having on this bike and how happy I am to be selected as one of the first reviewers, because it's nice to be able to introduce good products, and this, in my opinion, is definitely good. Let me talk about that speed for a second, that 28 miles per hour, and how that relates to the email that kind of hooked me into wanting to take a look at the bike. Because in that email, the subject line said 35 mile per hour e-bike. Obviously, 28 miles per hour is not 35, and I wondered what strings they were pulling to get that approved, but in the end, insurance liabilities and restrictions won out, so 28 is the top speed. I'm a little disappointed because 35 sounded so cool, but I'm loving it at 22.4, so 28, when I can get mine code unlocked, it's going to be even better, so I'm still 100% in with the Lectric XP. I want to make sure I cover everything, so let me give you some specs. The bike's weight is 59 pounds. The total load capacity is 330 pounds. Now remember, the rear rack can handle 55, so if that's loaded, a 275 pound rider can also be on the bike as long as the combo doesn't exceed 330. Okay, all that said, Lectric just launched this on their website for pre-order, with delivery starting in July, and pre-order pricing is $100 off, making the bike $899 instead of the regular $999. Plus, apparently they like KevCentral because they offer to provide me a coupon code. And the coupon code is KevCentral. What's the coupon code do? Well, it gets Lectric XP e-bike buyers a free waterproof pannier bag. Now, I'm not saying this to sell anything because I don't make anything from this. I just like the bike enough that I'm an XP evangelist. This bike is fun and I have confidence in it, and that's based on my experiences with it. I hope you found this informative and entertaining, and I hope you're subscribed and you have the notification bell active. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and now I'm going to go ride this bike again.